Hey there, everybody. My name is Kim Danger. I'm a Beachbody coach, and I'm also certified to teach P90X, PiYo, and Country Heat. I'm a 45-year-old wife and mother, and I have always been someone that has gone off and on the fitness bandwagon. That is up until about 3 or 4 years ago. So I can totally relate to those of you who say they have a hard time sticking to a clean eating or fitness program. So in my last 2 years as a coach, I've learned a few things and I want to share them with you. So I've also discovered that if you don't have a strong reason why, if you don't have a strong level of motivation to make a change, you probably won't stick with it. So many of us say, well, I'm going to lose 20 pounds for a reunion, or I have a vacation coming up, or, I'm going to be seeing my sister and I want to look great. Things like that. They might keep you going in the short run, but once that event is over, you aren't going to be motivated anymore. So your why has to be something intrinsic. It can't be related to an outside thing. It has to be stronger than that one event. And for me, one of the things that changed after I turned 40, that's kind of the time I started really sticking with it, is the fact that my parents started having health problems. My dad actually had one of his first heart attacks at about the same age I was when I decided that I need to make this a permanent lifestyle change. So for me, my motivation was to grow old in a healthy way, to be able to stay active, to be doing the things that I wanted to do, to live to the point where I would see my grandchildren and have a quality of life. And I'll also be completely honest with you guys. I didn't want to be a frumpy mom. I didn't want to be, the 45-year-old that looked like she had given up on herself and that kind of thing. So there was a little bit of a vain quality, be completely honest with you on that one. But my health and just my well-being completely motivated me. So I want you to have a why story that almost brings you to tears. In the past year, I've seen my dad become diagnosed with cancer and pass away within a matter of 2 months. So I know I don't want that for my future. I will do just about whatever it takes not to go down that path. And I do get emotional when I talk about it. So I want you guys, I don't want you to have a family tragedy story like I do, but I want your why to motivate you like nothing else does. And we all have some kind of fire in our belly. We all have a story that we can tap into or a reason why we want to do this. If you're a parent, do it for your kids. Do you want to see your grandchildren? Do you want to be able to play with them? Or, are you going to be, sitting on the sideline wishing that you had the energy? Think about those things and make that your why. So now that you have your why, we're going to talk a little bit about the how. And for me, it was finding programs that I actually liked to do, okay? And that can be a bit of a trial and error, right? Like I've never been crazy about cardio. So I had all these workout DVDs and I was wondering, why can't I stick with them? Well, I don't think I was doing the right ones. I discovered weight training in my 40s and I loved it. Like I do run as well, but I always find myself kind of glad when I take a break from running because I get to do weight training again. So for me, that's what really gets me going. For you, it could be dance, it could be yoga, it doesn't matter what it is, as long as you find something that makes you feel great and doesn't feel like work. So we want to match you with a program that you really like. Okay. So we also have to schedule your workouts. This is very important. It doesn't necessarily matter when you do them, but it does matter that you're consistent and you don't skip that commitment. It'd be like missing a meeting with your boss. You wouldn't do it right. You're not going to cancel on your boss, so don't cancel on yourself. Make it a priority. I find for me, getting my workout done in the morning is great because then it doesn't allow excuses to creep in later on in the day. Like if I haven't worked out by like 5 or 6 in the evening, it probably isn't going to happen because that's when my mind starts playing tricks on me. Like, oh, you can wait until tomorrow. You're fine. You don't need to work out today. I'm sure you guys all have this running dialogue in your head and you know what I'm talking about. So chances are an earlier workout is better than later, but if you're one that needs to do a later workout, just make sure that you stick with it. Okay, accountability. Let's talk a little bit about that. because I really think accountability is that second key factor aside from my motivation and, like, I guess that's three. Aside from motivation and finding programs that I liked, accountability was really important because what I would do is I would stay accountable to like running a 5K, but then the race would be over. So I wouldn't be accountable anymore. Or I'd take like a 6-week Pilates class at the Y, and when it was over, who cares? Like nobody knew if I wasn't going to show up. So I had no level of accountability. I would just fall off the bandwagon until the next thing I committed to, which may not have been for another 6 months. So when I signed up as a coach, and not a discount coach, I know a lot of you are coaches simply for the discount, but as soon as I had that first challenger, I knew I had to put my money where my mouth is. Like I knew I had to stick with it. I had to help myself so I could help that other person. I didn't want to let her down. And I highly recommend you guys, if you want to stick with any of these Beachbody programs for longer than a month, which most of them last longer than a month, sign up as a coach and bring at least one person along with you. I promise you, your level of accountability will skyrocket because you won't want to let another person down. I mean, it really is a lot easier to flake out on ourselves than it is someone else. So accountability is really important. If you're one of my challengers, I can set you up with an accountability partner. So reach out to me. I've got a little group set up that if you don't have anyone, if you don't have a supportive spouse, which a lot of us don't. My husband isn't necessarily into this stuff. I try to get him to be, but I get it. Like I get it if you don't have support at home. So let's try to find you support online. Okay. So we talked about why, how, and accountability. The last thing that you guys need to do is make it a habit. And if you guys want a really good book to read, The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg is awesome. It explains how habits are created, how they're reinforced, good habits and bad habits. So you can use that knowledge and create cues, like little mental cues for you. Like a mental cue or a visual cue would be setting your workout clothes out the night before. And you see them in the morning so you know that it's time to work out. So that's a cue, and then you also want to pair that with a reward. So what's a fun reward that you can do after your workout? For me, it's usually having my shake because I love doctoring up my shakes, adding like yogurt and berries and make it into a really yummy smoothie. So I know I don't get that until after I work out. For you, it could be, relaxing in a chair for 5 minutes, listening to your favorite music, listening to a podcast, or doing something that is just a little bit of course, a non-food reward for working out. For you, it doesn't really matter what it is, as long as it's something positive that you connect with working out. And then once you've got all those things in place, you've got your why, you've got your how, you've got your accountability built in, you've made it into a habit, it's going to be on autopilot. It will be as simple as brushing your teeth. You will start to feel icky if you miss your workout. I never thought I would get to that point, but I am there right now, you guys. I don't like missing more than like 2-3 days max. I just start to feel ick, I just can't do it. And I want that for all of you. But I realize too that you have to go through those processes, and it's not always easy. It might take you a couple of months to get to that point where you actually feel happy about the program you've selected, what you're doing, and you feel like you have made it a habit. It takes time, so don't get frustrated if within 2 weeks you aren't either seeing results or you're not feeling it. I get it. It does take time, and I've heard it takes 21 days to create a habit, but I've also heard it takes like over 40, and I would tend to agree that it does take over 40 days. So commit to it for 2 months. See if you can do it. 2 months, you guys, and your life will change. Seriously. So I hope that helped.